All right. Welcome to the Bempire. This is DJ Gene, and I'm here with my buddy Andrew.
Howdy.
We're going to put on our first track right now. This is Time to Play by Trevor Mijares from the folks at PM Shift Music. Welcome back to the Bempire. I'm your host, Gene. I'm here with Andrew, and you just heard Time to Play by Trevor Mijares via the folks at PM Shift Music. We're here at Echoplex Media, and yeah. How'd you like that last track?
I liked it. I like the vocal samples. I think that gave it kind of a bit of an edge. I always like when they add kind of vocal samples here and there to just kind of give it more of a flavor. And
yeah, it's got a nice bouncy vibe.
Yeah.
Sent over. I really enjoyed it. I figured, start the show off with something a little bit more upbeat. Tend to play a lot of more down-tempo, mellow stuff. I got a lot of that, of course. Not too much new to say about a lot of the music, but I do have to say that, unfortunately, today is probably going to be my last show for kind of a little while. Going on a trip in June. I'm going to be out of town, and, things have changed a little bit in my life, so I may still show up from time to time or be a guest. But as a regularly scheduled host, I probably won't be your first Saturday of the month anymore.
Adieu.
What's that?
I said adieu.
Well, thank you, Andrew. I've had a lot of fun, even in just the short time I've been here. The Synthwave show was the highlight of my short time here. It was a lot of fun to get everybody on, and having some of the other guests has been great, even with some technical difficulties. There's things didn't always go as planned, but, a lot of really interesting interviews, some great content, lots of great music. And, with that said, the next track I have up is actually from the first guest I had on our show. It's Marvid. You may remember, if you're listening to our Mixcloud or you found us in other ways, you may have seen our first episode of the Bempire. I had Marvid here chatting with me. Really great guy. I'm glad I made his acquaintance. Based here, East San Jose, represent. And I'm going to be playing his track, True Love. This is True Love by Marvid.
I miss all the times we used to kick it, before we knew all the little things that were making us so livid, before the tears rolled down my face, when you being here wasn't just a saving grace. I'm staying up all night, questioning if you and me will ever be alright, cause I never know these days if we're still the same. You don't even care about me, do you? Nah. Yet you always like to flaunt that I do whatever you want. You never do what I want. It ain't ever what I want. It's always a true love that makes me go insane. A good love wouldn't make me feel this way, but this love feels so cruel. You always a true love is what keeps you by my side. Though our love keeps me up at night. Or do I love you like a fool? And like a fool, I follow your every move. I wallow in sorrow, this sadness, cause of you acting so distant. Now I'm only reminiscing. There ain't no chance of me making new memories with you. Why you can't give me a little something, anything to help me function? This a good relationship, or should we just call it quits? You never wanna work with me. You only wanted to keep busting this insanity, pulling the trigger with me. You still say you care about me, but do you? Nah, yeah, I don't even mind that you're wasting my time. There never seems to be time. You never seem to have time. It's always a true love that seems to run away. A good love wouldn't make me feel this way, but this love only feels so cruel. You always a true love is what keeps me by my side. Though our love keeps me up at night. When I love you like a fool.
was True Love by Marvid. I like that a lot.
I did too. I like the R&B feel of it, and it was just very smooth.
Yeah, we were just saying it's got a nice R&B vibe, laid back. It doesn't sound throwback, it's got that sort of 90s R&B sound without trying to be like, I want to sound like that. It just, it's nostalgic, but still modern.
True.
I really like it.
It's naturally,
Yeah. Marvid, if you're listening, or, I'll tag you, I'm sure, but we wish you the best of luck. Love your music. Hope you go far. We all got to do something in our lives, spend the time, and making great music's a good way to do it, so more power to you. All right, you want to move on to our next track?
Sounds good.
Yeah, I'm going to keep the banter light this today. Our producer, Dave, has got to be somewhere at 9, so I want to make sure to keep things moving. So the next track is Shake and Bake by Pramster. That was Shake and Bake by Pramster. What'd you think?
I loved it. I like that type of music, and so does Gene. Kind of that techno house kind of sound.
Oh, yeah. In 2001, everything sounded like this. This was the future.
So, with your PlayStation 2s and your Spice Girls.
Oh, yeah. Everything had that digital tech font. Mm-hmm. We were, we'd already become familiar with the information superhighway. We were pros at surfing the net at this point. We're hacking into matrices. Life didn't turn out that way.
No, we got people eating detergent, teens eating laundry detergent.
Yeah, the 90s was certainly a more optimistic time, and then here we are.
Gotta make the most of what we got, man.
Yeah. Life's treated us all right, and I've been doing all right. I think you've been doing all right, too.
Yeah.
So, moving on to our next track. This one is, as usual for me, is a kind of way out there, but maybe in a different way. This track is not electronic at all, or for the most part, it's got a few elements, but honestly, what doesn't these days have some electronic elements? This is Become Animal by Flower Flower. That was Become Animal by Flower Flower. And for those of you listening, that's flour as in the baking, not the plant that you pick petals from. Flour, flower. So, I really enjoyed it. I thought that was a nice, bouncy, fun, upbeat track. And you, Andrew?
It was interesting.
Oh, there it is. The Midwest interesting.
I know what they were going for. I didn't actually hate it. I just, it's not really that my kind of sound. But appreciate what they were doing with it. And it's just kind of a very specific style.
That's fine. I picked it out. I just invited you to the show to listen to my music, to force it on you.
Oh, thank you very much.
No, I picked that track specifically because it's not like super electronic, but it was just way out there, and I always like having a few wild cards in my song list. So, it was definitely I wouldn't say what I usually listen to on a regular basis, but every once in a while I get sick of electronic music, and I'm like, I just need to listen to something with a little bit more vocals and real instruments that's happier. And so there you go. That's all those things right at one.
Yeah.
So the next track is by an artist who goes by Careful, or Careful Music, if you look them up on SoundCloud. One word, Careful Music. And the track is called You Will Have to Kill Me.
Oh.
That was You Will Have to Kill Me by Careful.
Yeah. I was just telling Gene I was thinking about what band it reminded me of, and I was thinking Hooverphonic, which, if you don't know, is a trip-hop-ish band from the late 90s that have put out quite a few albums since then. So Gene was like, oh, I'll check them out.
Yeah, not a band I'm familiar with, but I really enjoyed that track. I tend personally to gravitate towards a lot of music that's very, I use the word a lot, pensive, makes you thoughtful. Not necessarily sad music, just like, you sort of sit there, you reflect. Mm-hmm. Maybe you're not happy, maybe you're not particularly sad, but you're just sort of deep in thought. So, you ready to move on to the next track?
I am.
All right. Next track up is another old visitor on the show who you may remember from one of the earlier episodes. This is B1. The track is B, the letter, Be Wondrous, off of the album Cosmic Atomic.
Planets. The eternal wonders of space and time. Faraway dreams.
That was Be Wondrous by B1 off of Cosmic Atomic.
Not to be confused with B-52s, of course.
Yeah, you got about 51 Bs to go before you get there.
Okay.
I'm a big fan of B1. I played one of his tracks on a much earlier episode, and this guy does not get enough love. Go to his Bandcamp and buy his album. I have.
Nice.
Yeah.
You're still supporting local business.
You got to. I mean, that's... I would say that's some pretty inventive stuff. I mean, it's got
Yes.
like dub elements, but there's some really unexpected turns.
Yeah, I liked how it started very slow and then it sped up and then a little bit. So it was like very like 40, 30 beats per minute first and then...
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's got some good energy despite the slow tempo. I mean, it moves quite, it's got a lot of movement in the track, which I really like. And I just love the use of samples. I mean, the other track that I played, I'm trying to remember what it was called, but same kind of thing. There's a drop and something unexpected happens, and you'll have sort of a playful, maybe funny sample. Just a really, really interesting approach to this sort of the style. I mean, it's a blend of so many things, and I can't put my finger on exactly what it is, and I think that's great.
I think so too.
Okay, are you ready for the next track?
I am.
All right, moving right along, we have Mufasa. Yeah, got a lot of people from my first show, actually. Mufasa, who's closed out the show. This track is Completion by Mufasa. That was Completion by Mufasa. I loved it.
Yeah, I liked it.
You first, my friend. Go on.
I thought it was my favorite one so far. I especially like the zither style sound of the main synth. I thought that would complement the other sounds beat pretty well. Gene, what did you like the most about it?
Just, I don't know, that sort of flowing, almost like piano sound going up to the top just really complemented the sort of fat synths at the bottom. I don't know. It was just, it came together in a really nice way, and it had sort of elements of, and I hate to use this, like Orientalism. Like I don't mean that like Asian sort of instruments and scales. I certainly don't mean it in a particular way. Just like it's definitely going for something that's not quite a Western sound. Yeah, loved it.
Congrats, Mufasa. Simba will be proud.
Yeah, so, I love seeing all the variety of music that just comes through our doors. So many good artists, right under our doorstep, or on our doorstep, or under our noses, whatever. Still a lot of talented people making music. So, ready to move on?
I am.
Okay. So, for those of you who were here or listening to our last show with all of our synthwave artists, I got another track from Vector Hold, a good friend of mine, Pete Rice. This was one of the tracks from his new album, Abducted, that I didn't get to play, which is Red Horizon. That was Red Horizon by Vector Hold off of the Abducted album / EP. I think it's a 6-track album. Yeah.
It was synthwave, and I like synthwave. I consider myself a fair weather fan of synthwave, so I liked it. But I imagine somebody who is more into synthwave can point out more of the details about what they liked about it. Gene?
Well, I do like synthwave. It shows up a lot on my show. But one thing that I really enjoy about Vector Hold specifically is that he's not afraid to step out of the box. You weren't here for the last episode, but if you want to go ahead and listen to that, Bempire Radio, check us out on Mixcloud, that sort of thing. He has a lot heavier stuff. Pete used to be in a lot of metal bands, and his former bandmate also was, in bands with him, and they were, collectively in bands in the area. And I think synthwave can have a harder edge. Perturbator and whatnot are doing some darker stuff, but his stuff is just like heavy and fast, like really aggressive stuff. And it's not something I hear too much, so this is probably a little bit more in line. But again, it's nice to hear him step away from the pack and do his own kind of thing and not just be like, I'm a synthwave producer. Great stuff, but I like to hear an artist really stretch and do some cool stuff. So, big fan, Vector Hold. Try to boost you any way I can. Played MAGWEST last year.
Nice.
Small part thanks to me. You're welcome. No, not trying to brag, not trying to take too much credit, but yeah. No, it was a lot of fun having the performance. I was able to step away for a little while and catch it. It was a lot of fun. I've talked about MAGWEST a little bit. It's a music and gaming thing. Comes around every August. This will be the second year. It's going to be an annual thing. Planning stages are in full swing, but we can't really announce a lot of the music yet. But, maybe somebody on the show will be able to do so in about a month. I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, moving on. The next 2 tracks are from some of my meetup buddies. This next one is from Riley Farrell. For those of you who remember one of my episodes where I had meetup folks come around on a round table talking about the lovey-doveyness of our meetup group, the Laptop Music Production Workshop. We're now back at the Hacker Dojo. For those of you who want to come join other music makers, it's a really great community. I love it dearly, and it is so important to me that it keeps going. I'm glad that we have a home again. But that all aside, Riley is one of our more active members, and he grew up playing a lot of more like Japanese video games, JRPGs, Japanese RPGs. So a lot of his sound has that kind of character to it, as does this next track, which is called Corgi by Riley Farrell. is Corgi by Riley Farrell, also known as, and this is a picture of a capybara. I think Riley Farrell's a little bit easier to remember, but he's a big fan of the large rodent, the capybara, so it doesn't surprise me. And that's Corgi with a K, but yeah, I like the track a lot.
Yeah. I was joking with Gene. Me and him are huge nerds. Nerd alert here, but
speak for yourself. I'm not a huge. No, I'm just kidding. We're both massive nerds.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, totally.
As you can see, Riley's influence comes from Japanese RPGs, like Gene said, and I could definitely reminded me of a game that I would pick up in the late '90s and play, and this would be one of the sounds on the soundtrack, and I'm sure that's what Riley was going for when he composed this.
Yeah, if he'd written it like 15 years ago, I'd be talking about it on my other podcast, most likely. So, yeah, it's definitely, I really like a lot of Riley's chord choices. I mean, I think whatever musical tradition you listen to, whether it's, games or metal or whatever, sort of influences the kind of stuff that you do. And I think there's just a lot of really interesting chord colors that you don't hear that much in pop music. And that's fine. I'm not saying like you have to. It's just, it's nice for a change of pace.
Mm-hmm.
I really like that.
Yeah.
So you ready to move on?
I am.
We got 3 more tracks for you tonight. It's going to be a shorter night. We all have places to be. We all have our things to do. Hope we've entertained you thus far.
We've tried to.
Well, we've tried to anyway. So, as I mentioned, this next track is also from one of my meetup members. This is from Neo the Lefty, and the track is called I Think About It All the Time. That was I Think About It All the Time by Neo the Lefty. So Neo's been coming to the meetup for a little while, and as I've said in the past, and I'll say again, the meetup's about meeting you wherever you're at. So wherever you are on your musical journey, and this is an older track, so Neo stuff is definitely, getting better all the time. And, I think there's some really interesting ideas explored, and one of the things I like is that there's a sort of like element of familiarity, but element of experimentation, and that's something that I really appreciate in her tracks.
Yeah, I definitely see definite potential in this track, and I imagine she's worked on polishing and working with experimentation a lot more.
Yeah, I mean, music's a journey. Like you look at the final product, and it's like, oh, it sounds so good. And then anybody who's listening, if you've ever been in front of any kind of music making apparatus, the first I don't know how long, unless you're like brilliant and naturally talented, you're gonna sit there and be like, why does my music suck? Yeah, it's a very, very tough feeling because you hear something that sounds so effortless, and you're like, oh, that guy's 18. Why is his music so good? Well, because since like 14 or 15, they've been sitting in front of the computer or in front of the guitar or whatever, practicing hours and hours a day. So you hear this person that sounds good, and they're young and they haven't had that much time. But if you look at the actual hours, nobody is good without practice.
True.
So
what did they say? Like it's 90%, 10% inspiration and 90% perspiration?
Yeah, there's also that whole, it takes 10,000 hours to master your trade, whatever that is. So if you're an aspiring music maker or an aspiring art maker or creative of any kind, remember that the only way to learn is by doing. And when you just first start something out, you're going to suck. You're going to make mistakes. Don't worry about it. Just keep doing it. And like some people I was talking about off air, it's okay. If your music making fun of an old DJ who's no longer on the air. But anyway, if if you're not where you want to be, just keep at it. People are going to try to bring you down. They're going to try to say some things and hurt your ego. But creativity is hard. It's hard to be successful. And when you start showing a little success, people are going to start, the vultures come in. So don't listen. People will appreciate the work that you put in. And when you get there, you can drop all the haters.
And let them hate.
Yeah. I'm a hater too sometimes. So, we all are.
Personal experiences confirm this.
Yeah, I know. This guy's been my friend for so damn long. He knows how much of a hater I can be. All right. So moving on, we got 2 more tracks. This next track is, and I'm probably going to butcher the artist's name here. It was actually played on the last show. I wasn't on it, but I was looking through the track list. I'm like, damn, I really wanted to play this. But I like it enough that I'm going to play it again. And, we're only on once a week, so you're probably not going to get tired of it. It's not like a track you're hearing every day, 3 times a day. So this is Feel by Senzatimore and Contain Her.
Do you find it hard to breathe? That it's hard to release? Correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems like you've gone. You walk on the other side of the line. You prefer the shade and the dark.
was Feel by Senzatimore and Contain Her. Heavy.
Heavy. I liked the synth line a lot.
Yeah. I really like the vocals a lot, actually. So Contain Her is a local artist here in the East Bay. She performs solo, collaborative, in this case, vocals on top of other people's tracks. She also runs the electronic music night, I want to say every first Thursday. I should probably have had that in front. So the Synth Aesthesia over in Oakland at the Stork Club. And from everybody I've heard that's gone up, it's a ton of fun. It's a really great event. It's like this show, but live.
Nice.
So a lot of really great music played, and probably one of the only live electronic music performance nights that's not just like a DJ set, people making new and original music, playing their, actually performing live.
Nice.
So yeah.
Synthesthesia?
Synthesthesia. So, a portmanteau of synesthesia and synthesizer, or whatever, synths. Yeah. I've met April a number of times. She's very, just super big on supporting the scene, and right back at you. I'm all about supporting the scene as much as I can. So if you're in the East Bay, if you're visiting Oakland, if you happen to be around, go to one of these Synthesthesia nights. They're a ton of fun.
Sounds like a plan.
All right. We got one more track, but I wanted to say a few things before I get out of here. Number one, I wanted to thank producer Dave at Echoplex Media for having me. It's been a pleasure coming down into the studio, using up some of the studio time to bullshit with my friends, drink, have some great guests in here. But also just, to the folks at Bempire, in particular Euphoric, who did a lot of work to make this whole radio show happen in the first place. Euphoric, or Katie, came up to me and was like, hey, I'm trying to get this group together of people. We want to support Bay Area electronic music. Let's do this. And I was just sort of been along for the ride, but it's been a lot of fun. There's just something very rewarding about supporting local music. I think there's so many alternatives these days. You have more music than you could ever possibly listen to, and it takes a concerted effort, I think, to go out, listen to the bands, buy their music, support them, support their shows, all of those sorts of things. And I try my very best to do all of those things. It's not easy. I mean, we get tired, we get busy. Work here is tough. You know how it goes, right?
Yeah.
It's hard to drag your ass out on like a Thursday night to go
It
see your
is.
friend. It's like, can I just like stay home and watch Netflix? Of course you can, but do whatever you can to try to make it out as often as you can. It's the people that you listen to on Spotify, unless you only listen to local and indie bands, are probably doing all right.
I was going to say, I don't think Taylor Swift is running for money here.
No. Taylor Swift gives away money and acts high and mighty about it, but she was already rich before she got started, so she didn't have anything to worry about. As I always say, kudos to the success, but let's spread it around. Let's help our friends, our brothers and sisters, our fellow artists, and in their musical endeavors. There was one more thing that I wanted to say. I'm trying to remember what it was. I don't know. Did you have anything you wanted to?
I was just enjoyed talking with you, Gene. I enjoyed listening to this music. All kinds of great new artists that are local that I never have a chance to listen to. I'm thankful that this exists.
Yeah, it'll keep going. There's other DJs who do the show, and they're always pulling up great tracks. In a future show, we're very likely to have DJ Unity Vibe, who, unfortunately, the timing didn't work out. I was going to play a short set from him, but I'll pass that along to my fellow DJs at the radio show. I don't know. I'm a little bit
Sad.
yeah, a little bit sad.
Yeah.
I don't. I've only got so much time and energy to do all of these different things in my life. I want to continue doing the show, but I just, priorities being what they are, unfortunately, I'm going to have to move on for a little bit. So it's been a ton of fun. I really mean that. And and I leave the show with no animosity or no regrets. It's been a fun ride, and I hope it continues to prosper with or without me. I'll still be around. I'll be an occasional guest. This is not the last time you'll hear my voice. I can guarantee that. But otherwise, I think I'm going to end the show with this last track, unless you have any objections, unless you want me to listen to that Flower track another time. I know that was a favorite of yours, Andrew. You play it 10 more times?
Be mean to Flower. I actually I liked it a little bit. I now that I've got some time to process it, I kind of like it.
Yeah, I mean, and like I said, I chose the tracks, so whether you like it or not is
it's
irrelevant to me. So this last track is another returning artist. This is Poplar Tree. This one is called Time, featuring Rosendale.
Not a lot left in this empty house. The clock on the wall never seemed so loud till now. Till now. Sitting on the sofa wondering how I ever thought that I could do without you now. Till now. 'Cause you and I don't feel the same. How did things suddenly change? Tell me, where did I go wrong? 'Cause I'm still thinking about you anyway. Did you think that I belong? Were you wanting something more? Left me in this lonely place. Feels like I've been here before. Only time will tell if I'll be okay. Open up to me in 10 years someday. Maybe by that time I will have grown. But for now, just leave me 'cause I'm broken. Trying not to think of what was spoken. Time will tell why you walked out the door. Maybe if I stay, the pain will go away. Wonder if I go, I'll think of you. Never knew that I could feel so down. I can't handle being by myself right now. Right now. Staring at our photos, thinking now. Million reasons I could never doubt you now. Till now. 'Cause in the dark, your silhouette, beating hearts I won't forget. How did things just fall apart? But I regret the things I said. Do you think of me at all? Maybe yes or maybe not. All these thoughts inside my head, the good times I just can't recall. Only time will tell if I'll be okay. Check on me again in 10 years maybe. Time will pass you by before you know. But for now, just leave me 'cause I'm broken. Trying not to think of what would happen. Time will tell why you walked out the door. Maybe if I say, the pain will go away. Wonder if I go, will think of you. Maybe if I say, the pain will go away. Wonder if I go, will think of you. Time will tell why you walked out the door.
All right, I said I'd end the show, but I have a few little quick things to say. So that was Time, featuring Rosendale by Poplar Tree. And I completely forgot to thank the folks at IceCast, which is the program that we use to do a simultaneous broadcast. So on the one side, we're recording and we're broadcasting directly to the Echoplex servers and, playing online. And it's a really great tool. So if you like this internet broadcasting, check out IceCast. All right, that's all I had to say. Thank you very much for joining us, Andrew.
I'm glad to be here. Thank you so much, Jane.
Yeah, no problem. And for those of you listening on air or after the fact, it's been a ton of fun. I've appreciated all of the nice comments. Love talking to all of you. Maybe we meet again at some point in the future. And with that, good night, everybody. Have a great evening, and enjoy what you're doing, whatever it is, whatever time you're listening to this.
Farewell.
Peace out.